In mei van dit jaar werd bekend dat oudspeler Matthew Otten na een succesvol seizoen bij Joost United de nieuwe coach van Donar is. De afgelopen maanden heeft hij samen met Martin de Vries een ploeg samengesteld om het komend seizoen in de B-Next League en in Europa goede resultaten te pakken. Een prima moment voor een goed gesprek met coach Matthew Otten. Well, Matthew Otten, born in Las Vegas 39 years ago, and now we're here at the basketbalseizoen. How are you doing, coach?
I couldn't be better. You know, exciting times. I saw that the team arrived, so we're getting ready to get started this weekend.
If we look back at your period at Donar as a player, was from 2009 to 2011, champion in 2010. Did you ever think at that time that you would be a coach 10 years later here in Groningen?
No, I did not. It definitely wasn't in the plans, but I knew I wanted to get into coaching. I didn't know whether it was going to be in college or where. So yeah, it came by surprise, but I'm excited to be here.
And when you look back at that period, being a championship, if you look back, how was that in Groningen, being a basketball player with a lot of fans, going to the big market to celebrate? How was that?
It's like a dream, you know. I try to reflect back as often as possible because it was a good time in my life and some our team's lives. You know, we talk about it often. It was a beautiful time, beautiful place to play. For me, it was reaching a goal to play in a place like Donar. That was your dream come true. So it's still reflecting back into a dream.
And then you became a coach at several places. Of course, the assistant coach at the Orange Lions. Then you got to Bemmel in the DBL as a coach. And that worked out very well. But what was your secret? Why did it work so very well at Bemmel?
I don't have a secret. I had the right group of guys. They reacted well to me and my philosophy. We worked well together and had great support from our board. No real secret. Sometimes things just click, and you know, only thing you can do is work as hard as you can work, and the results come from themselves.
Do you think that's going to be a big difference being coach of Bemmel as part of the DBL and now a coach of Donar in the B-Next League?
Absolutely. Last season it was a beginning club. You know, less resources, it's building. And Donar's established club, who's won championships, played in the European level, so much more resources, but also higher expectations, higher standard. So it's definitely a different challenge.
And then a couple of months ago, Martin de Vries called you, maybe asking if there's a possibility that you come to Donar. What kind of feeling did you have at that moment?
Special, every time I see Martin, we've talked about it a few times, it was a surprising, happy moment. First, it was a call for a meeting, and then, it's a meeting, and so it's an exciting, but then we had a great talk and shared some of the same beliefs and philosophies, and so excitement came to reality. So.
And then things start happening because a lot of people in Groningen know you. The whole basketball world in Holland is looking at the situation, what happens in Donar, and you were presented in Martini Plaza. How was that for you?
Great. Seeing you and familiar faces, of course, it's exciting to be back and very welcoming. I feel welcome. I feel everyone's excited that I'm here, and that's important because I think that was one of the biggest things that helped our success in 2009. You know, in 10, we all felt a connection with the fans, and same feeling as soon as I had my drive up here and arrived at Martini Plaza.
Does it feel a little bit like coming home?
It does. It does. Well, like I said, it seems like a long time ago because I've coached a lot in between. I played in England afterwards. I played in Rotterdam. Then I coached in Den Bosch, and I spent 4 seasons developing a program in Nijmegen. So it seems like a long time ago. So it's like a dream coming back into fruition. But I really enjoy it here. I really enjoy the people, and I'm excited to get going.
Last couple of months you worked on the team, of course, and we get to that later with the players and the way they play. But looking at your private situation, you still have a house now in Renen, but you get an apartment here in Groningen?
Yes, yes. We bought a house in Renen with my fiance, and a month later I get a call from Martin de Vries, but we're happy with the house, and it's in a beautiful place on the hills. So we really like the nature side of it, but also our apartment here is very nice, supplied by the club, and my fiance is very happy about this too. So
what's her name?
Lisa van den Adel. Yeah.
And she's pregnant.
She's pregnant. Yeah.
And what is the date again?
September 8th.
September 8th.
So hopefully not on game day, but
it's in the preseason situation, of course.
Preseason, yes.
So
like
you're
you said,
excited. You're first.
Absolutely, yeah. We're really excited. She was a big-time basketball player herself. She played, I think, 17 years Eredivisie. Her sister plays in Spain. Comes from a basketball family, so it's an easy conversation at the house.
So probably she was excited too when you got the contract here in Groningen.
Absolutely. She may be more excited than me, but she was pretty excited. Yeah.
Looking back at a couple of months, we've seen a lot of sports, of course, on television, like the Olympic Games, 3 against 3. Did you see it?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think about it?
I think it's great. More basketball is better, more places for Dutch players to play, Dutch youth to play. It's an inspiration factor to see our guys on TV and playing in the Olympics, and I hope that more kids are getting involved. I'm an assistant coach for the national team as well, so it's really encouraging, really good to see that basketball is going in the right direction. I think everybody didn't know how 3-on-3 would go, but now we're seeing we made it to the Olympics. A lot of young kids are being inspired to play. There's more youth teams, so I think it's a really great development for Dutch basketball.
And it was a completely Donar team there at the Olympics with Arvin, with Jesse, with Ross Berking, all former players of Donar.
Yeah, I was a fan. I was I was a fan. I was out of my seat every possession, and it's unluckily they couldn't get it to the final, but they were there and they were close and they had a chance, so it's really nice.
Yeah. How do you gonna combine your role as a coach of Donar with the fact that you're assistant coach of the Orange Lions?
I think it's good. I think it's well, like I said, more basketball is better, and I'm working close together with Mauricio Buscaglia, who's basketball encyclopedia. He's seen a lot of situations, been on a high level, and constantly trying to pick his brain. And also, seeing my job is to see all the talent coming up, all of the development. So it works well together. So also as a Donar coach, I can see what players are really developing and what players can really play on the level.
And they can play in Eurobasket 2022. Mm-hmm. Are there, before that, more games to come from the Orange Lions?
Yeah, we have the World Cup qualifiers in November and February. So we have a week break that no games are allowed in 5-on-5. So
and then you go over there?
Myself and Leon, yes.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, preseason will start next week. The players are here. Everybody could see that they arrived at Schiphol. What is then your first priority with the team? Because it's all new guys, of course. You have to build a team. You have to get it together. Emotions. How are you going to do that?
I think everybody knows basketball. So through strenuous training, I think it's the best way to bring guys together because they all know the game, and that's how they all can relate to each other. Getting it into the culture of Groningen is also important for players who've never been here, and I saw that already. I think it's successful, yeah, it's foreign place for people. Some of our players never been to Holland and don't know anybody around. So, but that's also what can help create a tight basketball community.
But do you already start with your own philosophy on playing how to play basketball and offense, defense? Does it already start next week?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, no time to spare. We have to try and get everybody playing on the same page. So that's first practice is already going to be about how we want to play and the pace we want to play, and level we want to play. Of course, we have to build it up because we don't know what everyone's been doing the last months. Yeah, absolutely. Every day's at work.
And a lot of games are in the program already. In the preseason, Saturday the 21st of August, we play in Martini Plaza against Groene Uilen. We have Bakken Bears, Antwerpen, Leicester, Zwolle. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a good preseason. I think, especially going into the B-Next, we talked about trying to have a challenging preseason to prepare us for that level of play.
For the fans, if we want to see Donar later on, what will we see? What kind of play will the audience see when we look at Donar?
Playing with your heart. That's the number one. Playing with passion, playing with your heart, playing for something that's bigger than yourself, and that is Donar. That is the team. That's what I expect. That's the kind of players I recruited, and that's the goal to get us playing.
But first focus on defense or offense. What's going to be?
Defense. A lot of our players are defensive minded first, and the first thing I'll tell my guys, the same thing I'm telling you, is if you want to get on the court, you got to play defense. So setting the tone in defense, turning the defense into offense is going to be a big part of our success.
And as we look at the players that you selected right now, there are a couple of good shooters.
Yeah, I think it's a really well-balanced team. Myself and Martin de Vries, we put a lot of time in, a lot of video time, a lot of calling coaches to try and find the right balance. We have our distributors, we have our shooters, we have our defenders, we have our inside guys. I think it's a real well-balanced roster.
If you look at the roster, the players that stayed at Donar, so Thomas Koenitz, Willem Brandwijk, Henry Caruso, Leon Williams, 3 more years. Kjeld Zuidema, Shea Adjituni. I can imagine you're pretty comfortable with them, with the fact that you stay. But how do you look at them as being the basis of the team, the people that stayed?
Great. Thomas Koenitz has 2 championships. He's a leader. He's a vocal leader. He's a worker. He defines everything that I want in a player. Leon Williams, of course, I work with him on the national team. He's a high motor. Doesn't stop playing defense.
He had a good season last year.
Great season last year. And Willem Brandwijk, incredible athlete, incredible talent. He's spending his summer in America now, working on himself and working on his game. And then, Kjeld, Shea, Mark, big talents. Shea is going to have a bigger role this year. I expect him to be able to step up with our other players. He's not a youth player anymore. Kjeld and Mark, I expect him to hold the level in practice and be ready to step up when the opportunity comes.
And Henry? Of course, he arrived yesterday with one of the American players, but he was already here.
Henry was one of my favorite players on the roster. He,
Energy, rebounding,
and the hardest player to coach against because he gets those. He makes the intangible plays. He's the loose tips, the offensive rebounds, the putbacks. Hard defender, hard nose, but also a great guy. And it's also another. I think you have to have that kind of standard to make our roster. That was the first thing that we talked about.
Do you already know who's going to be the captain of the team?
Koenitz.
Thomas Koenitz.
Thomas Koenitz.
Yeah, he has the most experience, of course. Here.
Most experience, but also, our first conversation. I know him a little bit, but first conversation, it's clear. He has pure intention, and he wants to win, and he's going to play with his heart. So I think it's clear.
Looking at the new guys, you brought one with you, Austin Luke. The player who played with you in Joost. What kind of player is he?
He's the first one in the gym, last one to leave. He's a guy that works on himself every day, and he's also a floor leader. He also wants the best for the team. He also understands that we're not here for ourselves. We're here for something bigger, and that's partially why he's here as well.
And he had some amazing statistics last year.
He can play.
He can play.
He can play.
Yeah. Another guy, Dante Ingram. He played this summer in New Zealand. Now he's here. What kind of player is he?
I think Dante is, like I said, when we talk about balance, he's more of a gritty type player. Defense, getting his guy, help on the rebounds as a wing, but he can also hit the big shot. He's a shot maker. And he's more aggressive going to the basket. So I think it's a player that also gives good balance to this roster.
Okay. Amanze Egeze, one of the guys who has a Nigerian passport also, next to the American. He played with Austin Luke on college, so they know each other.
Yeah, partially how I was able to see him. You know, when I watched Austin my first year at Yost, and I watched all of his games all the way back to his time at Belmont, and I saw him playing with Amanze, which him, Amanze, and another player plays with the Cleveland Cavaliers were the main guys, and that's kind of what stood out to me. So I remembered him, and it was exactly the type of player that I was looking for, and I thought, you know, it's even better that you know, he has some chemistry with.
That helps.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Building chemistry is one of the main goals.
Yeah. Then another guy with also a Nigerian passport, Lotana Nwagbo. He's a big one. I saw him at Schiphol already. What kind of player is he?
I think he's a. If I look at him last season, he was very efficient in under 20 minutes a game. High scorer, high rebounder, and 2 years ago he was the best player in the second division Turkey League, which is a tough league. But he's a I call it on his way up guy. He can really play the level, and you know this is a big step for him and his career as well. He gave their team in Spain a run
last season
in playoffs, and he was the main center, and you know. I really also great character. You know, we did our character checks, and I think he's a worker. He's ready to control the paint. That's what I expect.
And then Marquise Edison.
This is our experienced player, our experienced shooter. He played in Europe Cup. He was one of the top scorers in the Europe Cup last season. Always, I think the thing that stood out for me when we were recruiting him was how many years he shot above 40% from three. You know, so he shows consistency, but also his defense and character checked out as well.
You're very stabilized in statistics. It's like a flat line.
Yeah, he's consistent, very consistent.
Right. Mark Roda, you already mentioned him. He's new at the team, of course. Did you talk to him already?
Yeah, sure. I talked a lot with Pete Miller. This was an important decision. You know, number 9, 10, 11, 12 are your most important guys. Guys who are going to maintain the level, but also ready to step up. And I think that he hasn't practiced here, so it's a big challenge for him. He hasn't played on this level yet. But if anybody's capable of it, we think it's him. So it's going to be a big challenge, and I'm excited to see. He's
one of the younger guys. What's going to be your role if you look at the younger teams, under 22, under 18? Because the younger players at Donar are very important, of course. It's our future. How do you deal with that? What's your part in their education in basketball?
Oh, it's very important. You know, it's on the court, off the court thing. I know most of them are balancing being a student and being an athlete. So on one end, making sure that they're able to keep that balance, but on the other end, making sure they're able to maintain the level that we want.
But you're already going to communicate with the coaches of the younger teams, the under 22, under 18. You have a lot of.
Yeah, I have very close contact with Pete Miller, and he's the one that first got my attention to Mark Roda. And it's we're meeting weekly. I'm going into practices. It's very important to keep connected.
Okay. Still a lot of boats over here. Maybe it's an idea that we do the conversation further on the boat.
Sounds great.
Let's do that.
Let's do it. I'll see you at Martini Plaza.
Well, this is the Paterswoldsemeer.
Gorgeous.
The weather could be better, of course, but if you look to the B-Next competition, Europe, of course. First of all, the B-Next competition, what's your opinion about that? The fact that we do it now together with the Belgian teams?
I think it's a great step for Dutch basketball. You know, I think Donar has a great culture, but more clubs in Belgium have a bigger basketball culture.
High level
culture, high level fans. So I think that we can learn a lot from that culture also, you know, mixing together, and also it's a demand to play on a high level because they have teams that played EuroLeague, Euro Cup, and Champions League, you know, Ostend. So it's a really big step for Dutch basketball.
And at first the domestic games, and then we play the competition with the Belgian games, with the Belgian teams.
I think it's a great idea. I think keep the competition, but also mix competition, so you can still have your DBL winner, which is a historic part of Dutch basketball.
And then the FIBA Europe Cup, we have to play qualifiers, and maybe something new. Donor is trying to get the bubble for the qualifiers to Groningen. It's not sure yet. We will hear that next week. But is that a privilege when the bubble comes to Groningen?
Sure. Yeah, home court advantage. You know, if the COVID rules apply to letting our fans come, then it's a big advantage for us to have home court and have an atmosphere at home to try and advance into the next round.
Donor always has ambitions, of course, to play at a high level, especially in Europe. So one main focus probably is getting to the really FIBA Europe Cup.
Yeah, it's a tough challenge, you know. Unfortunately, you know, we didn't win the cup or the championship last season, so normally you would automatically be in. So yeah, it's a big challenge to try and get through we have to make a semi-final and a final to get through. So it's definitely something we want to do, and the players are aware of it, and we're all up for the challenge.
Yeah, so let's hope it works out that the bubble can come to Groningen, that we can play in Martini Plaza for the games.
Sure.
We talked about a little bit about Corona last season, no audience at the game. How do you deal with that?
It's difficult. On one end, it's a privilege to still be able to compete. You know, there's a lot of people that can't work, or a lot of
lost their jobs.
Yeah, lost their jobs. So you know, we try and preach that, I think, as coaches, that you know, be glad that we're here at all and able to compete. Of course, our fans are a big part of what we do, so we need them to continue. But like I said, you know, last season, constantly, hey, we can play. It's a privilege.
Yeah, you can do your thing.
So you know, let's be happy that we can at least play.
Yeah. Well, let's hope, all of us, that it's going away very soon and that we don't have any Corona problems anymore.
Really hope so.
Well, Matthew, you have to go to work, of course, today. So, is there anything you want to say to the fans of Donar? This is the moment now. You can say whatever you want to the fans of Donar.
A lot of our results come from fans and giving us extra inspiration in the special place of Martini Plaza. So we really could use you. We're here for you, so we hope that you'll come out and support us.